Okay, so we've got the eye there. Now, from where the eye is, you can see here there's like the cheeks. So we're going to take that from there, and we want those cheeks to kind of be a little rounded, but we need to get this line here, which is the shading, all the way across. And then from there, that's where the cheek kind of fills in. So now I'm going to round that up a little bit better. So I get rid of all of that line that is there because we don't need that now. There's that like that. And it's definitely a lot bigger. And then we are going to take this, we are going to bring this all the way around that, like that. We're going to bring it all the way from where this line is. So we're going to take that line, which really looks a lot bigger here. So I'm going to have to bring that in there somehow. So that little bit there, bring it more like that. This one. Just go a little bit like that, and this line can go right to there, and this one here again can finish there. And we've got the cheek there, and then we know from here, up here somewhere, we've got this thing going on here, which is kind of where the tentacle thing is. So if I had to align that, the side of the eye is kind of where that tentacle would be coming out from. So from there, it's obviously a little bit lower, so I'm just going to bring that out like that, curve it a little bit, and then when I get to roughly there, it's on that angle somewhere there, like that, I'm going to take that line and I am going to bring that line all the way out and round it off like that. And there's my roundness that I needed to have there. And then this could actually just slightly round itself a bit more there. Okay, so we've got that. Remember to remove the lines that we don't need so we don't confuse ourselves when we're shading in, colouring with the pencils. All right, so that's working there. This side here, in order to balance it well, I might actually bring it a little bit more out so it's a little bigger, a little bit more natural looking there. And you can see here that line is not so up and down, it's a little bit more smoother. So having taken away those other lines there, that works for me. This area here, when you're shading in, I'm thinking triangular, especially because there's a nose in there, so that allows me to kind of keep that line going even up here like that, and all the shading that's going to go on in there. Then we get to here. This part here is where we have this tentacle, so we want a bit of space there and a little tiny bit of space there, so it's going to be there and it would be about there, and we're going to bring that up. Now as you can see, I've made it so big that I can't fit that in as well as what I'd like to. That's not going to stop us from completing the drawing, so I'm still going to be able to do this because I'll just have it a little bit shorter if needed, and then from there I'm going to bring out the other bit of the tentacle. So let's say there, and let's break it up into 3 parts, and that works. Okay, and then from here, so we've got the eye, basically centering that eye is about there. So from there, I'm going to bring it out all the way to about there, round it, and then again from here, you can see they're the same size, so I can just go off that one anyway, and kind of just go like that. And then from there, I may need to cut that a bit shorter, only because I want to be able to put that other tentacle in there, but if not, it really wouldn't matter too much, like that, and then just draw that going up like that. So that'll work. Okay, so to me, that pretty much is our drawing. There you go. So what we need to do now is to swap our pencil for our colored pencils. Now, these are just Derwents, they belong to my son. Again, I'm not using my professional pencils here, I'm just using whatever we have, but Derwents are considered to be great pencils, and these ones are made in England. I've chosen the colors, the main 3 colors that I'm going to use here. Even though I'm using a green, I've got 2 shades in case I want to blend. I've got 2 shades of blue. I've got a purple, a red and a brown that can blend nicely together, because that's all I have here in this particular set. And I've got my black, which although it is a little bit blunt and I don't have my sharpener here with me at the moment, I am able to still use it, and because it's a little bit blunt, it gives me a more softer shading effect, which is fine for what I'm wanting to use it for here. So okay, so let's get started now with the drawing by coloring it in. So making sure all the dust is gone. I usually like to remove any excess pencil that is not needed, any extra lines. Let's just remove those so we don't have too many lines that you can see through the coloring in, which would not be great. So all these extra lines have to go. Okay, a little bit more in there, cleaning that up. Here we're going to remove that because now we don't need that. These all stay. This little line here does not need to be there. Just remove that properly as well. Okay, so that's all good. That one, just a little bit there. Okay, and then again in here, even though we're going to have some colouring in that will cover that, I'm just going to remove a bit of it. There's no need to have it there. Okay, and again here, let's get rid of the extra lines that we have there, and here a little bit as well. Okay. Okay, there we have it. We have cleaned up our drawing. Didn't take more than a minute to clean it up. Okay, so let's start outlining our drawing. The first thing we want to do is work out the color we're going to use. Now, black is quite a strong color, so I would probably prefer to take a blue that is not too bright, a little bit more dull, and softly outline where needed. And where I'm not going to use this color, I'll use either a lighter shade or a different color. So if we start with this and we just start with outlining the edge of this drawing and only outline what needs to be outlined. Okay, so if we start from around about here, as you can see, just careful light brush strokes because we can build it up, but the last thing we want to do is to go too heavy and then we can't remove it, and it's a lot harder to remove colored pencil obviously to removing a grey lead pencil that's been used. So again from this side, so as you can see, softly colouring that in, and where you can see there's a bit of black added in, I'm using a softer outline in the blue because I want to be able to increase it using the black. If I overuse the blue, then I can't add the black effectively, and we don't want that to happen. Okay, so again here, just very lightly turning the pencil so we don't get too much of a rough edge on it, if possible. Okay, and then again here. Okay, so now this edge here is quite dark, so I'm going to heavy it out a bit, but there is a bit of black in there as well, so I'm not going to overdo it, but definitely can go a little bit harder there in that section as it is there, and then again here a little bit darker, and then to go a lot lighter here. We don't want to go too dark there, absolutely not. And the same here, we are in the middle, and I'm going to take that shape and round it a little bit so that I have right edge, a little bit darker in there. around it there. And then again here, I'm going to go a little bit darker and then not so dark towards the end of that. But definitely a little darker in there. So just running over that a few times will be enough to get that effect, and blending it right up like that. And reposition your pencil as needed. Try and use it in multiple positions in order to get those lines to flow nicely. Okay, so we've got that. Now, the neck, just quick and easy. Let's bring the neck. Now the neck comes up. There's a bit of an Adam's apple looking thing there. So I'll just add that in, and you've got a nice crease in there, and that comes like that, which makes the neck a little bit more realistic for that motion that the character is set in. Okay, then we've got the outline. Now, I think I would start from around about there. This line here needs to be smooth. Now, I can see from here that it's a nice smooth edge, and I can see that although we're nearly there, it's not quite as smooth as I'd like it to run. So I'm going to bring that all the way to there, and I'm going to remove that extra line because now I can see that it needed that. Okay, and by adding that in now, I should be able to carry that line smoothly and effortlessly all the way around, keeping that feathering outlining going, so it just maintains that real natural feel about it. And we can always make it heavier later. Okay, then we've got the chin that continues all the way here and kind of up like that. So same thing here, we've got the continuation of that line, feathering it all the way through, and the same with here, bringing it all the way. Now this part's meant to be a little bit darker. Okay, like that. And then around, again, feathering it, keeping it rounded and really natural. So that line works well, removing the line we don't need anymore. Now that we've perfected that one a little bit more. Okay, so where are we? So we've got that, and then we are going to, where are we? So we've got to there. Okay, so let's keep that going, and then same thing here. So we're going to go quite light and feathery. So I'm just going to make that line not so heavy. I can still see it, but that way my blue becomes the color you see and not the gray so much. Getting that line nicely in there, and we've got another line here which is really important because that middle area that's white, even though we can color it in, I can add a bit of color and just smudge it through, and that will actually achieve what I need to achieve with it. So same thing here, remove these lines a bit, they don't need to be so obvious. Okay, so I've got that first line in, which means that now the second line can be rubbed out, and I'll match that up to it so it's a little bit more natural looking, like that. And now this area under the eye needs to meet under there as well, so let's just keep it flowing like that. Let's intensify this area a bit more so that it's in proportion to our drawing, and you can see that there's a lot more darkness a lot lower there, so I'm going to add that in, and I can come back and add more to that after.